Hello everyone. It's me, Arden Lee. I am back with another video today, and today's video is another one in the series of videos that I am creating for some of the members of my Facebook group, the Repatterning Parlor, where I've asked them to name for me some of the issues that they are currently struggling with in their life that they would like some help with, and I'm creating videos based on their concerns. Today's video is for someone who says that the thing that they are dealing with most presently at the moment is chronic pain. Now, I am in no way a medical professional. I'm certified in timeline therapy, neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, and Reiki, but that in no way qualifies me to give medical advice. I'm also not a chronic pain sufferer myself. However, I do have a friend who does suffer from chronic pain, and in the past she's made a number of resources available to people for how to better deal with chronic pain in her opinion. She's written a number of articles about it. So her name is Jessica Rose. Of course, I always like to give credit where credit is due. So I decided that I didn't want to just, despite my lack of qualifications as a medical professional, I didn't want to answer everyone else's question and just say like, oh, sorry, chronic pain sufferer, I can't help you, because I thought that would just be giving up too soon. So what I've done is I've looked into some of my friend Jessica's resources, and I've decided to compile some of the tips that she's made available, and give that in this video in order to perhaps not speak medically, not to give any medical advice, but to give some advice on listening to your emotions, listening to your body, managing your social circle, and giving yourself permission to feel the way you feel, so that you can best cope with chronic pain. So if you are a chronic pain sufferer, I hope this is helpful to you. Before I get into those tips, of course, as always, if you haven't already, I would love to invite you to subscribe to my channel. Here on this channel, I love to make talks that are about hacking our beliefs and reframing our mindsets in order to remove the obstacles that are in our way to our success, our happiness, our abundance, our creative freedom, and our fulfillment. So if that sounds like something that you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I want to stay in your feed. I want to stay connected. And of course, if there is something that you are interested in having me speak on, just leave me a comment. And if I feel that I have something worthwhile to say on it, I would love to be able to make that video for you as well. All right, so let's get into some of the tips that I have learned, thanks to my friends' resources, about how best to deal with managing chronic pain, and especially how to deal with managing your life, your emotional well-being, and your social circles if you are a chronic pain sufferer. First off, there are going to be people in your life who just don't get it, who just don't understand your reality, and you're not under any obligation to remain friends with them. One of the things that I like to say in these talks a lot is that there are 8 billion people on the planet, so anyone who is causing you toxicity or negativity, especially if they're causing you more negativity than positivity, you're absolutely allowed to cut them out of your life. There's no reason for you to have to keep explaining yourself or apologizing. If people don't understand you and show an unwillingness to at least attempt to understand you, then you don't need to continue on in that friendship. You're not obligated and by any stretch of the imagination to continue with a friendship that is not serving you. I'll also add a positive twist to that too, which is just make sure that you are filling your social circles with people who do get you, who do understand you, whether they are fellow chronic pain sufferers or whether they're people who maybe don't necessarily understand, but who at least take you at your word and drop in with you and listen to the reality of what you're expressing, and who trust you to set your boundaries and know what's best for you, and who don't guilt you if if you're at a pain level 9 that day, who don't guilt you for not being able to come to their birthday party or whatever, who don't take it personally that you suffer from chronic pain. So that's the first tip right there. Also, what I understand about people who suffer chronic pain is that it can be really difficult to find the right doctor. It can be difficult sometimes in the medical profession to find people who will listen to you and take you at your word about the levels of pain you're feeling, especially if they feel frustrated that they haven't been able to successfully diagnose you. So you want to make sure that you're listening to a doctor, that you're finding a doctor who really believes your experience. And that if you say, hey, I'm a 9 or a 10 on the pain scale today, that they don't try to talk you out of that or accuse you of exaggerating, if they feel frustrated by the fact that they can't find a cause for it necessarily. And in my understanding too, this also really intersects with racism and sexism. In my understanding, not only are women less likely to be believed about their pain or their illnesses in the medical profession, but also people of color, and especially therefore women of color, because they qualify in both of those categories. So that's something that you want to be mindful about. If you no matter who you are, you deserve a doctor who is going to listen to you. So feel free. Also, remember, you're paying them. I say this all the time too about like therapists and psychiatrists, but this goes for medical professionals as well. We're so, bodily medical professionals rather than mental health professionals. We're so accustomed to putting our faith into experts, and sometimes, that expert might just be having a bad day, or they might be a jerk. They might be someone who really shouldn't be treating people, not because they, didn't pass medical school, but rather because they lack empathy. So you deserve a doctor who has empathy. And if that means you want to go out and find a second opinion, a third opinion, a fourth opinion, and on into infinity, then you absolutely deserve to do that. Don't give your power away to someone else just because they're a professional and you're not. Because at the end of the day, it's your body, and you deserve to put your trust and your faith in the hands of someone who is actually doing their best to make you feel good and who engenders that sense of trustworthiness in their relationship with you. Moving on, you get to feel how you want. You get to feel, not how you want, but you get to feel how you feel on that day. And you don't have to pretend that you don't feel well. If you don't feel well, you get to honor your body. You get to listen to your body. And, furthermore, if you've had a day, the day before where you felt great, and then, maybe today you're feeling awful, again, you don't need to explain or justify to anyone. If someone says like, well, why aren't you coming out? Like, didn't you just do XYZ yesterday? What's the problem? Again, there's no reason to have to keep justifying yourself, and if what is a good day for you might be, like a 6 or a 7 on the pain scale. If someone says like, hey, how are you feeling? And you're like, good, and then they're like, great, let's go bowling or whatever, and that's not something that you want to do. You get to honor yourself, and you really get to use that opportunity to draw your boundaries and to say no where you're really feeling like you're a no. Be honest with yourself and be honest with other people. While you don't owe anyone an explanation, you do want to make sure that your responses are coming from that place where you're really honoring the way that you feel. So if someone is, badgering you about it or whatever, again, there's no need to justify or whatever, but you're not under any obligation to pretend that you feel good when you don't. So, getting used to cultivating that habit of honesty with people is going to be useful to you, so that you can really honor where you're coming from at any given moment. And remembering to listen to your body. Don't push yourself. There may be something that you want to do, in your heart or in your mind, but if your body is saying no, then it's the smart thing to do, as I understand it, is to listen to your body, because your body contains that wisdom, and if your body is saying like, yeah, I know we really want to go to that birthday party and we don't want to listen, we don't want to let anyone down, but really we need to rest, then it's totally okay to listen to your body and to give it the rest that it's calling for. Furthermore, remember that when you do feel good, go out when you can. Again, you're not obligated to go out because of anyone else, but if you have times and moments where you're able to leave the house and get that fresh air and get moving around, when you are having a good day, make sure that you're taking advantage of those days, because being able to go out and have a social life, or even just see movies or eat out at a restaurant sometimes, is going to lift your spirits. And the more of those experiences that you can get under your belt, the less you're going to feel like you're limited by your chronic pain. You don't want to get into a situation where you just never leave your house, because of course that might lead to depression or to feelings of sadness or disempowerment. So if you wake up and you're like, wow, I feel really good today, I think I want to go out, make sure you're giving yourself the opportunities to take advantage of that. Accept your body as it is. You know, it's my understanding that when people suffer from chronic pain, that they can slip into sort of an adversarial relationship with their body sometimes, you know, but our bodies are the things, they're the vessel that we get to be in, you know, when we're here on earth. They're the things that house our spirits. So you want to make as good of a relationship with your body as you can. And just like any other friendship or relationship, that means really accepting it for what it is and trying to love it unconditionally, you know. That's kind of funny, unconditionally. But yeah, of course, it's like it is a relationship like any other. And the more you can drop in and say, this is the body I have, and I'm grateful for the way that it does work for me. And even if it frustrates me because it's limited in some ways, I'm going to love it and I'm going to work with it to the best of my ability. That may really help you to come to a place of peace and acceptance around what you're able to do on any given day. Find things that make you laugh. Find things that bring you joy. You know, movies and you know, comedy specials, or you know, things that make you smile. Things that, you know, music that makes you happy. Whatever gets you into that positive mindset, use those things. So because when you suffer from chronic pain, it can be really easy to, you know, and understandably to get in a bad mood about it, to feel frustrated by it. So anything that lifts your spirit, make sure you're surrounding yourself with those things. And in fact, you can even make a list of the things that, you know, that are sort of like your go-tos. If there's there's a movie that you watched that made you really, really happy, you know, maybe when you leave the theater or whatever, you know, add that to your list and say, hey, when this is available on Netflix or you know, or on DVD or whatever, I'm going to remember that this movie made me really happy, and I'm going to use that to lift my spirits even when I'm dealing with issues of chronic pain that I find limiting or frustrating. Another thing about chronic pain, and I realize that this is kind of ironic because again, I'm making a video about chronic pain and I'm not a chronic pain sufferer myself, but anyone who suffers from a medical condition, you know, there are a lot of people out there who love to give unsolicited advice, and oftentimes they think they're being helpful, but they're actually being really annoying because, you know, if you've lived with this for a great portion of your life, you've probably thought of everything that they could have possibly thought of in the last 10 seconds that they took before they said, oh, well, have you tried CBD oil? You know, like, right? Whatever that thing is. Although, you know, technically I have heard that CBD oil is helpful. My mom actually suffers from chronic neck pain and treats it with acupuncture, and I got her a CBD topical and some CBD tea that she says has been helpful sometimes before. So, you know, certainly try things if you know, if it feels right. But if someone's giving you that unsolicited advice and it sounds obnoxious, hell, if this video even sounds obnoxious to you, you know, just turn it off. You know, you don't have to sit there and listen to anyone telling you anything about your situation when they don't have the knowledge and the experience about it that you do. And my friend Jessica basically says that you know, because she stopped explaining herself to people, when people give her advice, she just kind of smiles and nods and said, oh, okay, I'll look into that, and then kind of walks away, you know. So feel free to use that line if you just don't want to deal with people, or, you know, feel free also to just tell them off if that feels better too. Say, you don't know anything about my situation, I've been dealing with this for 10 years, so screw you. Do whatever feels good in that moment, whatever feels like you're honoring your truth. And finally, make sure that you are advocating for yourself. When you are seeing doctors or nurses or medical professionals of any kind, you know, it might be helpful to write down a journal of how you're feeling on every given day so that you can get there and say to them, hey, here's like the past month, and here's where my pain levels were on every single day of the week. You know, if you need to bring your medical records with you, if you need to bring any kind of documentation, make sure, you know, no one is going to advocate for you except for yourself, you know. No one's at the end of the day, no one is responsible for standing up for you and your wellness other than you. And that's kind of lonely, you know, and it's also kind of freeing. Of course, that's also true of, you know, it's not only true for people with chronic pain, but that's also true for people who are dealing with mental health professionals, or, you know, for dealing with honestly any kind of situation. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned for myself is that I'm the only one who can set my boundaries, and I'm the only one who can who can practice discernment for myself, that nobody else is going to come out of the blue and save me. And unfortunately, you know, that may be the case with that's the case with chronic pain as well. There's no one who's going to step up and you know, I mean, if you do find someone, that's amazing. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for communicating your needs and communicating your boundaries and communicating what you find acceptable and what you don't find acceptable in treatment from a professional. So make sure that you are advocating for yourself. All right, that's me wrapped up. I hope that this was helpful. I understand that I'm speaking on a topic that is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but like I said, I tried to do my due diligence to make something that is genuinely going to be helpful for people. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.